Hey, folks, welcome back to another edition of Irish Sports Daily Official Visit. I'm your host, Christian McCullum. Got a good guest today, my good buddy, Jason Howell from TexAgs.com to talk a little Jeremiyah Love. Jason, thanks for joining us.
Hey, glad to be here. Always a pleasure.
Now, Jason is a dedicated recruiting reporter. My favorite Jason Howell story last signing day, we're powwowing, comparing notes. I think I'm calling you about Anthony Lucas. I got a
Yeah.
little Anthony Lucas little tidbit for you before signing day, and Jason is on his way to College Station to do a big, Texags has their big
I,
national signing day extravaganza. Where were you headed?
I was headed to Hunter Herb,
Okay.
his signing in north of Fort Worth. So
Okay. So as
yeah,
you can imagine, signing day is pretty crazy for reporters, and anytime you get a little tidbit, it's always important. So I'm telling Jason, hey, I got some stuff on Anthony Lucas, and he's going okay, and then I hear him go, oh, and it's clear he just got in a car accident, right? And he goes, oh
yeah.
shoot, I just got in a wreck. Somebody just rear-ended me, whatever. And I'm like, are you all right, Jason? And he's like, I'm good. All right, what do you got? Before we even get out of the car, he wants to know the scoop on Anthony Lucas. And that is dedication. So, Texags fans, I hope you understand how dedicated this guy is.
Well, and it all worked out. Got the car fixed pretty quickly. And I'll be honest, if I have to get rear-ended by someone, that woman will be tops of my list because she was great with getting me the insurance information and everything. Very cooperative, and we got it all hammered out. And I made it to Hunter Herb's deal on time, and I got the Anthony Lucas scoop. So
So you didn't wait around. We didn't have time to wait around for any police to come by or insurance
no,
companies.
no, not at all. And we didn't want to stop traffic too long either, so we ended up pulling off on a little side road and getting it hammered out. It was good stuff.
All right,
So
that works out. So, obviously, the Notre Dame Texas A&M recruiting battle that's going on right now is for 2023 St. Louis running back athlete Jeremiyah Love. Jeremiah took a visit to Notre Dame for their home opener against Marshall, which was obviously a disappointing one for Irish fans. And then he made another visit down to College Station this past weekend. I know Notre Dame fans were hoping they would wrap him up for the Marshall game, and it looked like there was a chance a couple weeks before that could have been the last visit. But in the days
yeah,
leading up to that Marshall game, it seemed more and more likely they were going to make another visit down to College Station, and they did so this past weekend for A&M's game against Miami. Jason, I know you had a chance to spend some time with Love's camp and talk to Love before and after the visit. How
yeah,
did everything go?
man. I think it went really well. The only other possible outcome other than what has happened is that would make it better would be a commitment, as you would think. But you know, yeah, we started to hear word that he's always kind of had his eye on getting back to College Station for a visit. I had a feeling if he did end up making that visit after the Notre Dame trip, that it would, you know, obviously it had a really good chance of putting A&M in a much better spot than where they well, much better. It seems like they've been 1 and 2 pretty much for the last month, right? Even if he's not saying it, just kind of the general feel and the schools that they've really been talking to. Those two seem to be the main focus from what I've been able to gather, and just getting him down there was a big important thing because he's never been to a game day in College Station, and it really even I mean obviously Notre Dame drops to Marshall at home, A&M fell to App State, and so the atmosphere around that Miami game was affected. There was talk of college game day coming to town and just all the different things that go with that. But with the App State loss, the atmosphere was impacted, but it was still going to be a huge game for A&M, and getting him in to see that environment. I know beforehand he was very excited to experience that for himself and just kind of see what it was all about and just get around the team and get a general vibe for how things were going there. And then afterwards, he liked what he saw from the running game and the way they utilize running backs. They love the environment. It was loud and raucous the whole night. It was a night game. And like I said, this was a pretty big game for A&M. This was kind of I don't want to say make or break, but it was definitely something that A&M felt a lot of pressure to win this one, and they were able to step up and answer the bell, and the crowd reciprocated with it was a packed house, and I think Jeremiah and his crew saw that and felt that love. I think he said something about how he could envision himself. Asked him, when you walk out of that tunnel before going up where the recruits are, how did it feel to look up and see the crowd? And he's like, I could see some love chants. I could hear my name. It made me want to put on the gear and go to work. So that those are always positive deals. But I'll be honest, leaving College Station, I didn't expect a commitment, but it just seems I still think A&M and Notre Dame are right there, but I don't know how long what the next step is going to be for him.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. We're looking at some
Yeah.
highlights of him here. How does A&M envision using Jeremiah Love right now on the field?
Well, Jeremiah is a extremely versatile guy. He can be utilized in a passing game. And as you see with these clips, man, he can take that ball, right out of the backfield and get gone in a hurry. He can make guys miss in space. He's got great vision and balance, and he's a big target. So I think they see him as a versatile offensive weapon, and using him mainly as kind of a every down running back type of situation where he can be that weapon in the passing game as well. As a weapon out of the backfield.
Yeah, Notre Dame's doing the same way. Notre Dame already has a couple running back commits. They have Jaden Lamar, who's a kind of a typical, more prototypical running back, and have Dylan Edwards, who I've just been terming like a weapon. He's kind of just like a jet sweep, kick return. And Jeremiah Love, I think, is the guy that would be kind of the hybrid between those two. And Notre Dame needs some game breakers. I mean, you can see that here. In terms of what's next, right? So when I, we both kind of, have our sources and talk to Love's camp, people close to him often. And, and we talk and I think that it seems like it's coming to a close. It's coming close to an end. I don't think that's a definitive, there's no date for sure. And I think there's, some kind of thoughts that maybe he'll take a couple more visits. I've always thought after the Notre Dame visit, when he took the Texas A&M visit, I was kind of told that would probably be the last visit. I still think that, but that's not necessarily 100%, is it?
No, I'm kind of with you. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I'm not sure what that is, whether it's Notre Dame or A&M. I get the sense that A&M's got a great chance, and I'm sure you get the sense Notre Dame's got a great shot. So, but there are a few teams out there, Michigan, Oregon. But I'm with you. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it'll go that much longer. But I also didn't get the feeling there was. I also didn't get the feeling there was much of a definitive timeline. And if they do decide to take some visits, you could see it. It wouldn't surprise me to see it go on in a month or, just continue to play out. Jeremiah he's a great kid. And he's one of those guys that he kind of keeps his cards close to his vest a little bit. I get the feeling he's one of those guys that likes to, keep it under the vest a little bit and let kind of keep it a little bit of a mystery for everybody else. So I think he's going to keep everybody guessing for a little bit before he does something definitive.
Yeah, I've always thought it was Notre Dame and A&M, and part of the reason why I think it was those two is I think that, one of the things that's clear to me is Jeremiah wants to be on a big stage, and he wants to
Yeah.
be somewhere where he's featured. He wants
Mm-hmm.
to have a chance of winning the Heisman Trophy one day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of those other schools, I don't know if they see that opportunity. I know some of them have, initially recruited him as a defensive player. I
Yeah.
never thought that was going to fly. I think those schools are realizing that that's not going to fly, and they're kind of changing their tune.
Yeah.
But it's just been, and when you talk to people close to him, it's Notre Dame, it's A&M. They go back and forth. I've always thought, the kid was kind of leaning towards Notre Dame, and the people close to him were kind of more torn and more like, hey, let's check out both of our options.
Mm-hmm.
After the Notre Dame visit, I kind of got the opposite, where it's like the people close to him are leaning towards Notre Dame, and Jeremiah is kind of like, hey, let's check out these other things. I personally still think it will be Notre Dame at the end of the day, just because of everything I've been told. And I think it would probably be soon. I mean, I think we've both talked to people close to him who are like, this thing has got to be done soon. And I think with him, he's a kind of a good case study for this whole NIL thing.
Yeah.
NIL is, a factor when it comes to all these guys.
Absolutely.
But for him, it's not a deciding factor, right? It's not. He's not someone that's going to base his decision around this, is he? Do you get that same belief?
No, yeah, I'm very much with you there. It is a factor, and I think as a recruit nowadays, you do have to take that into account. It's something but it's also another factor in terms of, like you said, how am I going to be utilized? How am I going to be developed? What does I think in Texas A&M and Notre Dame's positive for both of those programs is just how big the alumni base is and the network, and for A&M being in the SEC and having a wide range of one of the biggest, if not the biggest, alumni networks out there, and the Aggie network is extremely loyal and strong. And as Notre Dame is Notre Dame. It has a worldwide network and a far-reaching alumni base. So as well as a huge platform on the field. So but NIL is definitely a factor. It's not the determining factor, and I think that's a smart approach in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's the kid's decision on that, right?
Yeah.
I think he's like he's gotten offers from other places that are pretty substantial, from what I've been told. And his thinking is, man, these are my two choices. I think if I go to one of these schools, I can make that regardless. Right now, at the same time, I think NIL is like a dirty word, and I understand why. A lot of these instances, it is pretty dirty. But at the same time, I think people that follow recruiting closely, just imagine you got a son and he's got two schools to go to and he likes them both, and a few schools, whatever they are, and you're saying, hey, one of them you can make X amount of dollars at, and it's millions of dollars. If you think you're not gonna think about that and that's not gonna change things, it's crazy. It's also not wrong, right? I don't think that's wrong. And give credit to kids like Jeremiah who are confident enough to bet on themselves almost. But man, if I'm a parent and I got a 17-year-old and he's saying, oh, that's all right, I'll make that money. One guy I talked to about recruits said, he's a smart kid, and not talking about Jeremiah, just in general. He's a smart kid, but you don't know anything about money because you don't pay for anything. And I thought that was a great quote, because it's true. You know what I mean? These kids don't know the value, and just because NIL is a factor that doesn't mean it's dirty or anything like that. Especially on the recruit end.
No, absolutely not. Right there with you. So
you guys had a couple other guys in town as well that Notre Dame, from the St. Louis area, that Notre Dame's interested in, Jeremiah McClellan and Ryan Wingo. How did things go with them?
It went really well. Both of them. Ryan had come down for camp, so this was his second trip. Him and his family made the way down, and this was his first game experience. So that exchanged a little text with him, and he was like, yeah, that was incredible. Like, he was blown away by the experience. And A&M has been kind of they've been a player. Obviously, he wouldn't be down visiting if they weren't a school that he was interested in. But I think this elevated them in his eyes. He said, "Yeah, this was a much better. This definitely helped them out a lot with the game and seeing the support there. It opened his eyes a bit. And with McClellan, he's a guy that's. I mean, shoot, you talk to people around St. Louis, they are talking about Jeremiah McClellan being the next big dog out of the area, and he is really putting together a strong year. And A&M offered, while he's there, and so I know he said he'd been hearing from AJ Antonio Johnson, A&M's All-American safety, and been who's been telling him, about the program and everything. But this was the first chance he's really had a chance to see it and experience it, and obviously A&M liked what they've seen, and went ahead and put the scholarship out. So I haven't had a chance to catch up with him so much after the visit, but I expect his eyes were open a little bit too. But they were all looking forward to just getting that Cowfield experience and seeing what it was like. So
Yeah, two guys that are high on Notre Dame's board as well. I've already visited multiple times for Notre Dame, so it'll be another Notre Dame A&M recruiting battle down the stretch for those guys stretching into 2024. All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot. Like I've said, I was kind of out there early on my own predicting Jeremiyah Love to Notre Dame based on everything I'd heard, even, going back months now. And I think the kind of opinion, at least among, Notre Dame followers, is that, they had the edge at least heading into last week. I'm not backing off. I have no new information. I haven't caught up with any sources since his visit to A&M. But I'm still thinking Notre Dame's the leader in the end here. What's your call here on this one? How this one shakes out?
Man, I think I hate to sound go the homer bit, but I do think A&M is in a very good position. I think this visit definitely helped him out and showed him more of what A&M is all about and the type of environment they can create. But yeah. I guess I would say A&M would be my prediction right now, but it's a close one.
Yeah. That's why it's fun to recruit. You don't get a lot of these ones that are close and can go either way these days. Usually things are cut and dry and everyone knows. So, all right, Jason. Well, hey, man, we really appreciate it. Keep up the great work down at TexAgs. You guys crush it, obviously. And we'll find out how things go with Jeremiah. And me and you will probably be amongst the we'll have a heads up, I think. So check in with us and we'll see.
Absolutely. Thanks
a
so
lot.
much.
See ya.